1.21 gigawatts? 1.21 gigawatts? 1.21 gigawatts? What the hell is a gigawatt? Hey guys, Andrew Davidson here, and welcome back to another As Per My Ability video. Thanks for checking out another video. If you like what we do here, if you like our videos, if you like our content, if you like board games in general, please comment, like, subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications of when we post new videos. I hear if you hit the bell, you get 7 years, good luck. But you'll never know unless if you click the bell, so click the bell. Done. Okay, so moving into this video, if you haven't already guessed, we're going to be talking about one of the 4 Prospero Hall games that I'm doing. It's kind of a series that I'm talking about. And the game that we're talking about today has to deal with Marty McFly in 1955 going back to the future. Okay, let me get one thing straight right off the bat before we get started, before I get rambling. The game that I'm talking about is by Funko Games. It is produced by the Prospero Hall design team. I'm going to show you the cover again. It's called Back to Future, Back in Time. So Back to the Future, Back in Time. This is what it looks like. Now, why? Because I know for a fact that there's at least 2 to 3 Back to the Future games, other games out there, and the ones that I've played anyways they're just rubbish. Okay, so I'm just making a special point to be like, this is the cover, this is what it looks like, this is the square box. Okay, in case anyone's walking by and sees a Back to the Future game, oh, it's As Per My Ability talking about Back to the Future game, blah 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 blah. Okay, no, there's multiple Back to the Future games. The ones that I've played are rubbish except for this one. So let's talk about Back to the Future. Well, it's designed by the Prospero Hall design team, which is why I'm making all of the videos that you've been seeing lately about these games or their games. I feel that they've been knocking them out of the park with all of these games. I've enjoyed all of them so far that I have, which are the 4 that you'll be seeing posted on YouTube. So Back to the Future, Back in Time is an IP game. It takes place within the Back to the Future movies, or at least this is the first movie. Here's where you'll be in 1955 working together. It is a cooperative game, much like Horrified, which is going to be another video that you'll see at some point. Cooperative, ages 10 plus, 2 to 4 players. In the game, you're going to be going around trying to prepare the DeLorean to be rigged and set up for when the lightning strikes. You're going to try to get with George and Lorraine to fall in love. You've got lots of things to do, and you have very little time to do it. And so you're working together to try to achieve some of the objectives. Let me talk more about it and kind of show you the board, because a lot of this game looks really cool. So let me show you. So here is the board for Back to the Future, Back in Time. Now, before I get into anything at all, I want to start off by saying, yes, this game does come with a 3-dimensional clock tower that operates as a dice tower. You drop dice into, and you can roll dice. It is a dice tower. That is all it does. That's the only thing that it signifies, and it's kind of worthless, but it looks cool. I never use it. So when I roll the dice, we always just kind of roll on the table. So having said that, let's get into this actual game. Now, at the time of recording this, as I previously mentioned, I have not beaten this game. This game is incredibly challenging, although it is easy to play. So let me talk just a little bit about some of the basic concepts of playing. In order to win the game, you need to have the DeLorean, which they give you this cool little kind of aluminum like car, which starts up here. You can kind of barely see. You need to basically kind of move it through town and get it to end on one of these 3 spots to be all set to go, to travel to send Marty back to 1985. That's one. Number 2 is you also need to have George and Lorraine, who are over here. She's kind of a little bit off camera. You need to have them fall in love. So you need to have this love tracker go all the way up, and it needs to be in this heart area here by the time that you run out of turns. There is a turn tracker here that kind of opens up, and you, depending on how many players you have, it'll show you what's upside down, what side you play on. So when you run out of turns, by the time you get here, you should, wink wink, have all of these things succeeded at all of those things, which it's incredibly difficult. So how do you make some of these things happen? Well, you can play as different characters. I'm going to put the car up here. You can play as good old Doc Brown. So there's the Doc. There's Marty. You can play as Marty McFly. You can play as Jessica Parker. And you can also play as Einstein the dog. Arf, arf. And so those are the characters that you can pick from to play. They all have their own little special abilities that they can do that I won't go into. And you will be moving around the board orthogonally, which means up, down, left, and right, never diagonally. And you're trying to get George and Lorraine in the same position and roll some hearts. If you roll some hearts, like there's a really great roll, you get to move up on the heart meter, the love track, I guess, which is good because you need to get up here. Unfortunately, there's this character right here who is tall and dark and brooding, and his name is Biff. Biff moves basically every round depending on what card gets turned over, because every round you're going to be kind of flipping over a card that allows the game to do something, right? And he's always going to be moving towards George and Lorraine. If there is an equidistance between them and he has a choice, he's always going to go towards Lorraine because girls. That's it. So he always moves towards Lorraine. If he is ever activated and he is in a spot with either George or Lorraine, then he will deal damage, or what I call damage, but he basically will move your tracker back down. Now, something that I have not set up is that there will be tiles set up that represent this picture here. At certain points during the game, you will have to check the love meter, and if you are somewhere between the 0 and 12, you will have to flip one of the tiles over, which basically removes that person. So these people, these siblings, are being erased from existence. And so if all of them are flipped over, that's the way for your game to end. And in fact, that's the way that the game always have ended for all the games that I've played of this. If you're in the hearts, then nothing happens, nothing flips, which is great. Never gotten that far. If you are in the minus, then you're going to flip double. You're going to flip double of them over. And so it's a 3 by 2 grid. So once they're all flipped, then your game's just over. And that's kind of how we die. The love thing is pretty bad. Controlling Biff while trying to manage all of the other things that spawn on the board is a huge problem in the game. And so you got these cool kind of colored dice. You got this pinkish red, which is usually for the love. You got this for the flux capacitor, which is for doing certain events that will pop out on the board. I have not populated them. You've got yellow for moving the car up here, if you can roll and move the car. And then you have blue for fighting Biff, because you can take Biff and you can knock him down and knock him over like that, so that if he activates, he just stands up instead of actually dealing damage or moving. And so, again, there's a clock tower. It does absolutely nothing but operate as just a way to roll the dice. So there are ways for you to work together. If you're in the same spot, you can kind of roll to try to achieve some certain things. There are 3 things that you need, excuse me, for the vehicle. As you see, the vehicle will pull into the driveway, and you need to collect these things. I haven't put them out on the board, but they kind of populate on the board. You need some gas for the DeLorean. You need the cable to be able to connect, and then you need the hook. And so you need those 3 things for the vehicle, and then you need to get the vehicle here, and then you also have to get your love track all the way up into the hearts, and then just kind of ride a wave until you get to the end of the game. And if you get to the end of the game and you have all of those things satisfied, you win the game. I have not experienced that feeling. In fact, we always lose by this stupid love tracker. So on your turn, you're going to be going around kind of flipping certain tiles of what colors that you have. to roll for challenges, and you can win, lose, you can keep re-rolling. There are Biff symbols. See if we can get that. That's a Biff symbol. You cannot re-roll those, and when you resolve the die, that means that Biff will move. If he's already in a spot with George or Lorraine, then he will deal damage, like I said, to the love meter, which is really hard to mitigate, the whole Biff factor. The car is cool. It's an actual car. The board looks very cartoony. It pops. Each white area is a section, so it's actually just not a whole lot of sections on the board. Not a huge sprawling board. There's a certain special ability that allows you to move 6 spots, so I mean you can get all over the board very quickly. But like I said, cards will be populating on the board of certain problems you can go to resolve, to take care of, let's say, negative effects, because there will be constant ongoing effects that'll come out that will mess up your game. For those of you that have played Arkham Horror, you can think of these as like rumors in that game, like cards that come out that just apply a just really nasty negative effect to the entire game. And so that's about it. That's about all I'm going to go into just for a 4 or 5, 6 minute little intro here. Everything looks cool. The car looks cool. The dice like pop. The colors all pop. There's a 3-dimensional clock tower that you have to save the clock tower. And so this is a really cool 100% cooperative game. Like I said, in fact, some of the challenges you will be doing together and rolling together. So I'll roll and then you'll roll and be like, come on, please, we need one more. And so it's a really cool feeling. There are some stand-up moments in this game. I definitely feel like there could be more if I do better at this game, but so far, this game has proved to be incredibly challenging. So that's Back to the Future, Back in Time. Let's talk more about it, and let me talk more like who this game is for, who I recommend this game for.
Okay, so Back to the Future, Back in Time by Funko Games. At the time of recording this, I've played this game 5 times. 5 times. Not a whole lot, but more than 1, more than 2, more than 3. I have not won this game. I have not even come close to winning this game. It's usually just a blowout. I think out of the 5 games, we had 1 game where it was like, we're doing really well, like things are going, and then yeah, like most cooperative games, things can just snowball and just get out of control, and then it's like, wow, we were doing so well, and we're done. We lost. And so one thing I want to say just right off the bat, Back to the Future, this is a very, very, very challenging game. I have not beaten this game, and I've played it at the time of recording this 5 times. Excuse me. So, as you can see, the board is cool, the pieces are cool, everything kind of pops, the dice are cool, everything production-wise totally great. The board is awesome, it's got the cartoony look to the characters in the board, the illustration, no problems there. There's really no downside to this game. I really, really appreciate this game and I enjoy playing it, despite the fact that I've never won. In fact, I've never even freaking come close to winning this game, and yet here it is, right next to me, in my shelf, in my collection, ready to be played again. So just because you don't win at a game, like a cooperative game, doesn't mean that the game's not fun. I have a lot of fun playing Back to the Future, Back in Time. I have a lot of fun playing this game, and it is very challenging, and I'm looking forward to playing it some more in the future of my gaming career, and hopefully one of these days, years down the road or something, we'll catch a good break and be like, holy crap, did we just win? We just won. Oh my God, we just won. I've owned this game for 3 years and I finally just, won a game or something like that. But it is a really fun game. Now, what I have to do is a couple of things. I want to, first of all, talk about the Horrified, which will be on this YouTube channel, and this game. And then I also want to talk about who this game is for. So, first of all,
Horrified and Back to the Future are both fully 100% cooperative games. Okay, that's going without said. And so when people think of like, well, which one should I get? It really comes down to the mechanisms, which aren't that drastic. It's still kind of cooperative, right? Like you're trying to do things together, or solve this objective, or I'll go here and like do something with Dracula, or I'll save this person. Or in Back to the Future, I'll go take care of this thing at the clock tower, or grab the hook that we need, or the cabling and stuff like that. So it's a cooperative game. They feel kind of the same. What's gonna get you as far as which one you want to buy, or if you want to buy both of them like me, because I feel like they're both worth having. Back to the Future is probably the better of a family pick, especially if you know the IP. If you know Back to the Future, if you've seen the first movie, if you know like Einstein and Marty McFly and like the clock tower, save the clock tower, this is a really fun game because it's got all those elements in it. It's got the cool DeLorean car that you saw. It's got a lot of cool miniatures of like the people and like Biff and stuff like that. And so thematic wise, Horrified, Back to the Future. Back to the Future is probably more accessible just because it doesn't have like monsters like Dracula and things like that. However, if you're asking me to place which game is better, I think that Horrified is a better game to understand, to teach, as this game has a little more with cooperativity, if that's even a word, where you can kind of work together on tasks. You can place your characters together and roll some dice and work together to get certain tasks done. It just requires a lot of forethought and a lot of strategic planning amongst the people at the table, which is why Back to the Future is incredibly difficult. You absolutely have to talk about like, this needs to be this, I need to do this, and then of course you plan and cooperative games laugh, right? Because then there's always some card that gets flipped that's like, oh, okay, that changes everything. That moves this person here, and this happens, and blah, 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 and all this stuff happens, and your plans are like, okay, new plan. We need a new plan. So, who would I recommend this to? This would be probably a little step up for family games, but if you are gamers that have games like Ticket to Ride or Pandemic, or if you've already have Horrified and you're like, we want some more cooperative games that are real nice and sleek and well designed, as all of these Prospero Hall games are, then Back to the Future is for you. Or if you like the theme, if you're kind of a Gen Xer like me and you remember as a kid watching Back to the Future, this would be a pretty good one as well, because it's cooperative, so it's really chillax as far as learning the rules and helping people kind of learn as you play, which is always great. And the theme is all right there. Like I said, Marty McFly's there, Doc's there, freaking even Einstein's there. And so it really recreates that first movie in the trilogy of Back to the Future. So I would recommend this to gamer friends that really enjoy Back to the Future or enjoy cooperative games, especially if you like tough ones, because like I said, this game, as of right now, much as I love you, I have not come close. I've come close to winning this game. But that's all I'm going to say. Really great game. I highly recommend it. I'm recommending all of the Prospero Hall games that you're going to be seeing coming out on the channel as they come out over the next couple of weeks or so. And so that's Back to the Future. Again, back in time. This is what it looks like. It's a board game, not a card game, not a dice rolling game, a cooperative board game, and it looks like this. Make sure you get this one, because some of the others are just bloody rubbish, in my opinion. So that's all I'm going to say for this episode. My name is Andrew Davidson. Thank you so much for watching As Per My Ability and supporting us. And as always, I will see you all at the next video.